Hello, and welcome to the Rouge unit of the week. And today we're taking a look at the P-47D-25 fighter plane. The P-47 was first entered into the American Army Air Force service in late 1942, with its original role to be a high-altitude interceptor as well as escort for the B-70 bombers flying over Germany. And in terms of its role as a fighter, it's very interesting, because it could fly rather high, and with its pretty bloody big engine, it was a very fast aircraft, but it wasn't a very nimble aircraft. So the tactic for the fighter pilots was the classic boom and zoom tactics, which the Americans really refined in the Second World War, which essentially meant that the P-47s would fly higher over the German airplanes, and then they would try and swoop, dive down for a quick strafing run, and then escape with the speed that they gained from diving at a high altitude, and then gain an altitude again to repeat the same process, rather than just getting in a sticky dogfight. By late 1943, however, the P-51 would start replacing the P-47 as an escort fighter, but instead it would be used as a fighter bomber, as it could take quite a lot of damage from enemy airplanes and anti-aircraft fire, while still carrying a rather hefty load of bombs and rockets. And throughout the Normandy campaigns, it would mainly be blowing stuff up in close air support. In-game, the P-47D-25 is a 125-point fighter plane available exclusively to the 2nd Indian Head Division, and it has one type of weapon. So, you have not 1, 2, 3, or 4, not even 5 or 6, and heck, definitely not 7, but 8 50 caliber machine guns with a boatload of ammunition, because this is an American airplane. It's a pretty hefty armament for a fighter plane, definitely one of the most heavily armed fighter planes in the game. If you get behind something, or heck in front of something, it will probably die rather quickly just due to the heckin' amount of firepower that you have. And also it's pretty good for strafing ground targets. Pop down to the miscellaneous stat, it goes 670 kilometers, has a good optics, a very bad agility, or it will go up with higher veterancy, and medium resilience. In battle, the P-47 is an absolutely deadly fighter plane to have in your arsenal. I wouldn't say it's the best fighter plane in game, but it's definitely up there, that's for sure. And that's just due to its ridiculous armament of 850 caliber machine guns. Like I mentioned before, if you get behind or in front or to the side of something and you shoot it, it will most likely die, because no one really likes being shot at by 850 caliber machine guns. Heck, I wouldn't even want to be shot at by one, if I'm being entirely honest here. And the nice thing too is that you do have medium resilience, so if you do get hit by an enemy fighter plane or some anti-aircraft fire, you have a pretty good chance of surviving, which isn't all that bad. Now, the P-47 isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. One of its major weaknesses is its very bad agility. In a turn fight against more nimble fighter planes, you're not gonna have a great time. You have a pretty good shot of getting behind you, but you do have that high speed to help you get out of those dodgy situations. At 670 kilometers an hour, you're pretty much faster than most airplanes in game. I don't think there's really much on the Axis side that can catch up to you. So if there's a bunch of Messerschmitt 109s coming out of the enemy spawn, you can just leave, and you have a very good chance of leaving. You know, the speed can also bite you in the arse, as if I've noticed if you're trying to engage a slower airplane with this aeroplane, you might keep missing the target and never actually get an effective hit on it. But the P-47, as you may notice in the stat card, also counts as a close air support unit. And this is the hidden feature of the P-47, is that it is ridiculously good at strafing ground targets. If there's an enemy anti-tank gun or sort of position, just as long as it's not usually anti-air, it will die. Just, you strafe it, there goes IG-18. Pack 40, it's gone. How about that infantry squad? Never heard of it. The 850 caliber machine guns are pretty good at deleting most problems, and with the amount of ammunition, you can delete a lot of problems. Once again, the speed does prove to be a bit of a deficit, as it can be a little bit of pain in the arse to get a good angle on ground targets with this airplane. They do have pretty good availability, with 3 of them in A phase, 4 in B, and 6 in C. It's definitely a very good idea of 2nd Infantry to actually take the A phase card of fighters, as you're not just using them for fighters, you're gonna use them to strafe the hell out of enemy positions before they set up an effective anti-aircraft net. There's also bomber planes and an anti-tank rocket plane of the P-47 as well, which are more expensive. Both of them are also pretty good, with the bombs and the rockets being able to blow stuff up. But the nice thing as well, once it's dropped its armament, it's essentially just the fighter plane. So you got more effective fighters and also more effective ground strafers, because those 50 caliber machine guns are deadly. Absolutely deadly. So yeah, overall the P-47 just has a lot of DACA. It's pretty straightforward. And well, I'm going to leave it off at that. This has been another Rang Rouge unit of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.